And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this Thursday evening edition of Biz Talks. My name is Fred Holmes. I'm an independent distributor with Zija International, and my privilege to be the host tonight. I want to start out first by welcoming all of you who are in attendance with us, and in particular, those of you that maybe were directed to the recording on the YouTube channel. Welcome to you as well. In particular, I want to welcome those of you that are invited guests, because that's really what this evening's broadcast, the next several minutes we're going to spend together, you're the focus of that, because somebody's invited you to take a look at what we're doing here at Zija International. Maybe you've been one of our customers for a while, and you're starting to recognize the incredible power of our personal care products, our nutritional products. We've got several different product divisions. Maybe somebody's been talking to you about an opportunity to create some additional income, maybe do so with the flexibility of a part-time home-based business. Or maybe, just maybe, what you're looking for is an opportunity in a marketplace that is about to explode, to literally go to billions of dollars in annual sales, and you want to be part of the premier company ahead of the wave and look at creating, for many of us, what has become truly, unbelievable levels of income, retirement levels of income, to create a lifestyle instead of trying to make a living. And so for those of you this evening that are uninvited guests, what we're going to do over the next few minutes, I'm going to share just a little bit of an overview of our company and the value of being part of the home-based industry. The primary focus tonight, though, is to introduce you to one of our distributors, Danielle DeBord. Danielle, I've known actually Danielle for a few years now. One of the most, warm, authentic, genuine people. One of my favorite people. I in particular tonight wore my Zija Love t-shirt in honor of having Danielle as my guest. Because it just seemed to fit. And when you get a chance to meet Danielle, you're going to understand why I say this. But let me get into the information section. Zija International, we're a relatively young company. We've been in business now 12 years. We have done something in the home-based business arena that literally less than 1% of the companies that have ever existed in this business model over 70 years, less than 1% of the companies that have ever been here have been able to accomplish what we've done. We have been in business over 10 years. That in and of itself is a significant statement. We have now done cumulatively well over $1 billion a year in sales. It is such a rare feat to be able to do that. That in and of itself makes it worthy to look at Zija International. When I was first introduced to this industry, and now we're going back, many years ago, over 30 years ago, I was a cross-country truck driver. I loved driving trucks, but what truck driving offered me was not what I needed in my life at that time. My older son was hitting school age, had some special needs. I was going to have to provide the financial resources for that. Significantly more income than a truck driver makes. But I also needed time freedom to be with him, to fulfill on my promise, what every parent's promise is, to do everything you can to enable your children to be the best that they can be. And the only place that I was able to have that substantially above average income and time freedom was this industry. Home-based marketing, network marketing, relationship marketing. There's a lot of terms that people use. And while at that time, I just got really lucky. I found somebody who had already become $1 million earner in this profession, and I simply modeled what they did. Today, because I've had a number of years of experience, I literally retired in 10 years. By the time I hit my mid-40s, I was already through doing what most people take a lifetime to accomplish. And when I was first introduced to Zija International, and this is going back probably 10, 11 years ago, I already knew what to look for. And I hope that maybe these things will help you, give you an eye towards what to look for in Zija. The first and foremost ingredient that I looked for when making a decision to join a company and develop my home-based business was the ownership of the company. I was looking for people that had long-term experience in the business. Okay, I was looking for somebody that knew what they were doing. More importantly, I looked for somebody that had a successful track record. When I was introduced to this company, frankly, the only reason I even listened was because of the name of the owner, Ken Brailsford. Now, you may not recognize Ken's name, but you already know who he is. Ken is known as the father of encapsulation. Ken was the first person to put medicinal herbs into the little gel caps we're all familiar with today to make it easier for the average person to consume the benefits of these medicinal herbs. He launched his first company in the early 70s. You might recognize the company. It's Nature's Sunshine. They've been around. They're approaching 45 years that they've been around. They've done billions upon billions of dollars in sales and still continue to grow today. That success of that company has put them into a very rare group, what we refer to as legacy companies. And in the history of network marketing, over 7 decades now, there's only a couple of dozen companies who have ever achieved that, 20 years in success, billions in sales, continuing on to this day. Ken Brailsford built one of those companies, Nature's Sunshine. A decade later, in the 80s, he started his second company, Enrich International. Some of you may recognize that company. It continues today under the name of Unicity, over 30 years in business, billions of dollars in sales. Ken Brailsford's the only person that has built 2 of those 24 legacy companies. And what I understood after being able to retire from this profession in 10 years is that leadership trumps everything. People try to compare products, they try to compare compensation plans. And I have to tell you, over the 3+ decades I've been involved, I've seen lots of companies that had good products, in some cases, exceptional products, but they're not in business anymore. It takes more than a good product. It takes more than a good pay plan to create a true lifelong opportunity. That's why I looked at Zija, was because of the leadership, the ownership of this company. Now, second thing I looked at was products, which, makes sense. If you're going to be involved in a home-based business, you're going to be sharing products. The products certainly are a critical ingredient you need to look at. What I looked at were these 3 things when it came to products. Number 1, I looked for products that were, cutting edge, first to market. Being first in place, having the sizzle, that's always an advantage when it comes to marketing products. Number 2, I looked for products that were highly consumable. Ideally products that were, used on a daily basis, or reordered on a monthly basis, primarily because it kept the ongoing revenue stream of sales going through the pay plan. That's how you create an ongoing income. But the third thing that I looked at in products, and this was the most important part, the products have to really work. They have to make a meaningful difference in people's life. They have to create loyalty in the customer's mind. People have to be willing to use these products daily, reorder monthly, because they desire the benefits of the products. It has to be independent of whether or not they're involved in the business. And this is where Zija International thrives. When we first started, we were the Moringa company. We were the first company to bring Moringa oleifera nutritional products direct to the consumer. Nobody had heard about Moringa oleifera, a dozen years ago. Last year, 2018, everybody heard about Moringa oleifera. It was all over the news and the talk shows, Moringa oleifera, superfood for 2018. We were the first people to bring that to market. And over the last decade, there have been a lot of people that have brought some type of Moringa product to the market. Yet Zija International, we still control over 90% of the consumer Moringa products available in the world. Now, I want you to think about that. Our little company is the #1 producer and seller of a product line that has been touted throughout television and social media and everywhere this past year. Now, over the years, we've expanded into a lot of other product lines. We are first to market, providing clinical grade essential oils direct to the consumer. We are first to market with an all-natural, healthy sports nutrition line. Matter of fact, before in the pre-broadcast, before I actually started recording, I was telling people today's beverage of choice for this broadcast was our new Perform protein drink. The science behind this is phenomenal. We've got pre-workouts, post-workouts, recovery products, energy products. Again, all with the Zija mentality of all natural and healthy. We've expanded into personal care products, skin care products, hair care products, the personal care products, toothpaste, deodorant, mouth, products that everybody uses. People are looking for our products. Everybody's looking for something that's healthy, natural, clean, green, but they haven't heard about us. And that's the power of being first to market with these kinds of products. Most recently, and this is incredibly exciting and why we have taken a trajectory that is literally vertical in terms of sales growth, the CBD oil market. That has become such a buzz. Forbes magazine, I believe it was a month ago, they stated that the CBD oil market in North America was a $500 million a year business. Now, they're projecting that to grow to over $20 billion a year in less than 3 years. Now, you don't have to be, a business major or, some kind of, serious mega millionaire or entrepreneur to realize if you can get in front of a growth of a market that's going from $500 million a year to over $20 billion a year, and it's going to do it in less than 3 years, you could make a fortune, and you don't have to have much of that market. We are the first mainstream company in the industry to produce a transdermal application delivery system for CBD oils. I've got mine right here. Got that the Aromeo and Tune essential oil patch, CBD patch, square. This product is phenomenal. I had really very little awareness of CBD oils. I personally got some great, almost instantaneous results with it. But let me tell you what has been the most amazing thing. To see the dramatic, miraculous change in the affect and mood of my mother. My elderly, that's part of my Zija story. I build my business from home. 99.9% of what I do is right here because I care for my 93-year-old mother. We've been dealing with dementia issues for the last few years, and it is night and day difference. It is incredible. She's so much happier, so much more alive and aware. And frankly, if this was the only reason that I was introduced to Zija International was to have this product at this point in time in my mother's life, that would have been worth it. And so today we have two of the ingredients that I looked for when I was exploring home-based businesses. Leadership, ownership of the company that has a successful long-term track record, products that meet those criteria, first to market, category creator, highly consumable, and they really work. Now, the third ingredient I looked for in a home-based business was timing. That was a problem with Zija when I first joined. Very small company, had one product, but I knew in advance what would happen with this company because I didn't know personally Ken Brailsford a few years ago, but I knew who Ken was. I knew what his capacity was to create successful long-term companies. His previous two companies are still in business. They're still paying people residual monthly income checks, in some cases significant income checks for people that haven't actually done anything in the business in 5, 10, 20, 30 years, and they're still receiving residual income, and I wanted to be part of this company. So when you're looking at getting involved in a home-based business, look at those things and see how Zija International measures up to them. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring one of our guests over. Danielle, this is like your 30-second warning. You're coming over to this side. Danielle DeBord. I have to tell you, and I mentioned this here a moment ago, perhaps before we started recording. I've known Danielle now for a few years. She is one of the, she's the, hi Danielle, how are you, sweetie? You're on your side, maybe shake your phone a little bit. And I'm going to unmute you here. There you go.
That
All right, now we got you.
better.
Much better. I was just going to introduce you.
Okay.
I've known Danielle now for a few years. She's the bright star. When she walks into the room, the lights can be out, and all of a sudden you're going to see everything. She's one of the most genuine, warm, authentic people that you'll ever meet. And Danielle, I don't want to give away your story, but the reason I've asked Danielle, there we go, you got it.
Yay!
The reason I've asked Danielle to join me this evening, it's fairly characteristic on our business presentations Thursday nights. I'm interviewing one of the Zija top income earners, somebody that's hit Emerald recently, or maybe is a long-term Diamond Elite or what have you. And one of the comments I made before we start recording is that every top earner in our company, at some point in their career, they became a brand new distributor. And they were getting their first couple of customers and looking for their first couple of team members that worked with them to build a business. And then they achieved a rank of Builder 500. Every diamond, every 6- and 7-figure income earner in our company started somewhere. And I was really, really excited for you, Danielle, when in just the last couple of weeks, you've ranked or advanced from Builder 500 to Builder 1000. You just hit one of our first leadership ranks of bronze. Now you're on your way to silver. And I thought it was really important, not just for our guests, but also for our new distributors and those who've been around for a while, to hear from somebody that they could relate to in terms of, maybe not being an overnight superstar, right? So Danielle, I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
Let's start out by first, what were you doing when you were first introduced to Zija, and how did that happen? How did you hear about Zija?
Okay. First off, I want to say thanks for the introduction, and I love your Zija love. I decided to go with pure nature, sound science, rich life, because that's on the trajectory now. I got introduced to Zija through a different kind of path. Overhearing and being a little bit nosy. I was working part-time at an office, didn't make a lot of money because teachers don't. So I was working part-time. I overheard a woman named Pat Anderson talking to someone about how she had a product that gave her father a few more good years with her. And my ears were just like, bing, bang, ding, dong, I need to talk to this woman. So I came up and I talked to her and I said, what is this product? She said it was Moringa oleifera. I couldn't even spell it. And she, we decided to talk more. She invited me to lunch the next day. We met for lunch, and I finally saw hope, even though I didn't make a lot of money, that this product would help my parents be around a lot longer. My parents have both lost their parents due to dementia and Alzheimer's. So I know that it's home close to you, Fred, too. So they're definitely one of my whys. And then all of a sudden I was like, holy cow, this is going to be my vehicle. This is my mission of wanting more, to be more, to not just go through those daily motions. I knew I was meant for more, and man, oh man, did this feel like the vehicle for it. So I said, I'm all in, used my credit card and went with the Builder Pro package. And since then, it's been love at first sight.
Now, one of the things that I will say about your story, you've always been plugged in. You were the one that, you were attending the webinars or the conference calls, the small training groups, could always count on seeing you at one of the major annual conventions and that sort of thing. You and your family started getting some really good product results. Maybe you can take a moment, talk about the results you and your family were getting on our products.
That would be awesome. Yes. So at the time when I heard about this, my husband, Ralph, had just gotten in a severe accident, a motorcycle accident, and had calf graft and heel replacement, and we're months into the hospital, and he is on morphine, muscle relaxers, gabapentin, you name it, he was on it for months. Changes your chemical brain. And so, wow, did we were we scared when we knew that we were going to go off of them? And how was that going to play out? Was he going to be able to work through it? And we took those digest pills. He took that XM for energy and got that stuff out of him lickety split. And he didn't have to take off any time from work. My mom, she's off of her hormone medicines. Her blood pressure is down and she's not taking those sleeping pills, even though Costco, hey, you've got great sleeping pills. But my parents are sleeping through the night. So, you know, for them to have that, plus they were always vitamin takers anyway, but this is actually doing something. So the joy and the life I gave to my family by that, I didn't need any money, but now that I'm making some, that's awesome too.
Now, in our conversation earlier this week, you said something very meaningful that I was hoping you would share with the others, both for, you know, our guests who are looking, you know, what's it take to become successful in a home-based business? You know, one of the things that you said on your little Facebook live presentation here a couple of hours ago, which was really fun watching you talk about being on this broadcast in a few hours. Today, you're a full-time teacher, kindergarten teacher. If you were my kindergarten teacher, I would have married you. Okay?
We would have had so much fun.
Yes, I would have married you at 5 years old. Ralph would never have had a chance. But, you know, obviously, you're very, very busy, you know, as a young woman, married, you got your full-time job, your husband. You've always been involved. You've always been able to get a customer here and there. But something happened in the last several weeks, last couple of months, that has changed the entire trajectory of your business. And I can't tell you how exciting it is because it's at the right time as the company's trajectory is going ballistic. Could you share a few thoughts, both with our guests as well as our, you know, new and established distributors, on what made the difference for you?
So funny that you mentioned time. I was plugged in. I was doing the things that I thought were going to go get those results. I was plugged in. I was coachable. I had a burning desire to succeed. I knew this is what I wanted, but I wasn't getting any results. So I had to go back and think, okay, success follows clues. I plug into this every morning. What am I missing? Well, I've been given this beautiful system of peak, pass, plug, or invitation, presentation, validation. I've also been given a DMO, a daily method of operations. Well, guys, you can write a list all day long, but are you actually doing it? So I figured out I wasn't doing it. I wasn't taking action. And so, of course, as my success follows clues, I started reading books on action. And one of them said, if you don't do what you say you're going to do for yourself, you're breaking a promise to yourself. And I'm not a person that breaks promises to anybody. So why in the world am I breaking this promise to myself when it means so much? So you know what? The only thing I have, the same as you do, Fred, is time. So I had to make the time for this, follow the system, follow the DMO, and now my action is traction, babe.
Now my action is traction. I'm going to be using that on a future training session. And when you hear it and somebody goes, man, did you hear what Fred just said? Just smile and go, yeah, isn't he good?
He is so good.
The greatest leaders, trainers, and presenters, all they did is borrow that from somebody else. You know, I appreciate not just your, you know, your authenticity, but your willingness to be, you know, exposed to the real truth, because something you're saying really struck with me. You know, when I first got involved in this business, this type of business years ago, also had that burning desire, had to make the money necessary to provide the resources, the educational resources for my son. I had no option. If I didn't produce, I was failing. And one of the things that we see in our type of business is that most people, like yourself, have a full-time job. Now we
Mm,
know that teachers don't make a fortune, but you make enough, right?
right.
Most
Enough.
people make
See?
enough, okay, to deal with what they got. But most people dream of something greater. Whether, whether it be a nicer car, bigger house, better vacations, whatever. For some people, it's, give more to my church, give more to my cause, give, help my family and what have you. Could you take a moment? We only got a minute or two left. Would you share with the folks a little bit about what your dreams are for your future?
Okay, so my dreams for my future are to be able to quit my full-time job as a teacher and help on a massive scale. Zija has this wonderful thing called the Miracle Foundation, and I want to bring that to schools in North America and have that we feed children and get this hunger issue out of the way with moringa oleifera, giving that nutrition. So that's a huge dream of mine. Small dream of mine is to make diamond, retire my parents, retire my sister. Let's all have a family together. But I just have to keep in the back of my mind, are my actions matching my goal? And if my actions aren't matching my goal, then I need to change something, create a new habit. And I can't get rid of an old habit, but I can replace it with a good one. And that's when I start listening to leaders like yourself, but also read books. And then I'm going to read this. Oh, yeah, yeah. If you never want something or if you want something you've never had, you got to do something that you've never done. So instead of watching TV to relax, I'm doing my actions.
I have to tell you, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind we will see you in the Diamond Leaderboard at some time in the future with Zija. I'm incredibly excited about what's happening for you right now and your team. I know that your mom just made Builder 500, right?
She is so excited. I've never seen my mom so more involved in the company, and she's asking people and super being excited about it. And I mean, as a benefit, she's off of her meds, and so is my dad, and they're living amazingly. So I mean, the daughter couldn't ask for more than that. And the friends that have joined are also benefiting. So it's like, holy cow, I'm helping these people. Man, is it going to be huge soon.
I'm excited for you, Danielle. Thanks so much for taking a little time out of the evening. Give my best to Ralph.
I will.
Yeah, I can't do that. I'll try, but I can't do that.
You learn as a kindergarten teacher.
See, I got to hang around with kindergarten teachers more. Thank you, Danielle. Appreciate you spending some time with us and sharing your information. I'm going to go ahead and let
Fred, so much for the opportunity, and love to you and your mom.
Oh, thanks so much, Danielle. We'll let Danielle go back to the other side. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a good time in the last few minutes. I always have a good time when I hang out with Danielle. Let me do this in closing. A couple things. We've talked about the specific things to look at if you're ready to make a decision to get involved in a home-based business. Look for companies that already have a track record. Look for leadership that knows what they're doing. Look for products that people are looking for. Okay, it's a lot easier to try and help somebody get something they're looking for than try to explain to them something they have no interest in. And finally, look for a company with timing. When you look at Zija International, it fulfills every single one of those criteria, and it does so at an extremely high level. Now, I want to invite you, those of you that have been invited as a guest, some of you, you're going to want to use our products. The person asked you to be here will help you with that. They'll make some recommendations, use our products. You have absolutely nothing to lose because you have an unconditional 30-day money-back guarantee. We are so convinced you will have the same experience that, thousands of people have had with Zija products. You'll want to become a long-term customer with us. For others of you, maybe you're ready to make that change in your life. Maybe you're ready to start on that path to financial independence, financial security, maybe even take it up a notch and become financial prosperity. The person that asked you to be here will get you the information you need. Okay, if they're brand new, there's somebody else that's available to you to help answer your questions and get involved with us. Become part of Zija International as we grow from a relatively small company to one of the next billion-dollar giants in our industry. And to help you with that, Saturday morning, 2 days from now, Saturday morning, we will be hosting a very special new distributor training. I am actually the trainer on the calendar. I will be sharing with you some of the fundamental things that I learned 34 years ago that allow me to retire in 10 years and then come back with Zija International and eclipse the income that occurred in the first time around with network marketing. So I invite you to join us on the Saturday morning training. One last shout out to Danielle. You are so much fun. Thank you so much for joining us. And ladies and gentlemen, have a great evening. I'll look forward to seeing you on Saturday morning. Have a great rest of your evening. Take care.